The stars above the galaxy's edge were quiet that night. A peaceful silence floated across space like a sleeping ocean. But peace does not always last. Out of the dark sky came a flash of blue fire. A ship, small and silver, streaked through the void, burning as it fell. It twisted and cracked, sparks flying in all directions. Its engines had been hit by something. Maybe a weapon. Maybe a mistake. No one knew. The ship crashed hard into the rocky surface of an unknown moon near Outpost E7, a remote human settlement at the farthest edge of colonized space. It exploded with a dull roar, shaking the cliffs around it. Inside the outpost, alarms began to scream. Commander Jalen Ward, leader of the station, jumped to his feet. He was tall, calm, and experienced with alien diplomacy and emergencies. He pressed his comlink. Team Alpha, to the crash site. Bring medkits, atmosphere scanners, and containment gear. Move. His team responded fast. Within minutes, a transport skimmer was flying low over the rocky terrain, heading straight toward the smoking crater. Lights from the vehicle cut through the dust and debris. As they arrived, they saw the broken ship half buried in stone. Parts were still glowing hot. A strange symbol was marked on the side of the ship. None of them recognized it. "Scanners show one life form inside," said Corporal Lin. "Very weak, but still alive." Without wasting time, they broke through the hull. Smoke poured out. Inside, wires hung from the ceiling like vines. Flames licked the corners. But in the center, pinned beneath a collapsed console, was a tall figure in a smooth silver biosuit. "It's a Virelin," Jalen said, surprised. "Haven't seen one in years." The alien looked humanoid, but taller and more slender. The faceplate of the suit was cracked. She wasn't moving. "We need to get her out," Jalen ordered. Now. They worked fast, lifting the debris with portable lifters. The moment they freed her, a hissing sound came from the suit, a small leak. "She's losing pressure," shouted Lin. Back at the outpost, the medical room was quickly prepared. They placed the alien, later identified as Ambassador Celia Trin, onto a sterile bed. Machines scanned her condition. Her breathing was weak. Her biosuit, now ripped and toxic from internal damage, was killing her instead of saving her. "We have to remove it," said Dr. Alia, the lead medical officer. "The suit is poisoning her bloodstream." Jalen hesitated. "Are you sure? We don't know her culture. Removing the suit might offend her. She'll die in minutes if we don't." That was all it took. With steady hands and advanced tools, the team carefully opened the biosuit. Beneath the layers of metal and fiber, they found skin as pale as moonlight, shimmering slightly like a pearl. Her breathing stabilized almost immediately. Her chest rose and fell with relief. "She's alive," said Alia. "We saved her." But they didn't know what would happen when she woke up. Hours passed. The medical bay remained silent. One human stayed behind, Jalen. He watched over her, arms crossed, mind busy with thoughts. Why was a Virelin ambassador out here alone? Who attacked her? Was she on a secret mission? Then her eyes opened. They were violet, glowing gently. She sat up fast, eyes wide with panic. She looked down at her body, partially wrapped in a medical sheet, and saw the damaged suit lying beside the bed. She looked at Jalen. Her voice was soft, but sharp. "Humans, why did you remove my clothes?" Jalen blinked. "You were dying. The suit was killing you." Her expression changed, fear mixed with confusion. "Do you enjoy seeing me like this, exposed?" Jalen stood slowly, hands raised in calm. "No, we don't work like that. We saved your life. Nothing more." She looked away, silent, gripping the edge of the blanket tightly. Jalen spoke gently. "You crashed near our outpost. We didn't even know who you were. When we realized your suit was failing, we acted. If we offended you, I'm sorry. But we only wanted to help." She looked at him again. Her eyes searched his face. No lies, no hidden smile, only honesty. Finally, she said, "I'd understand." And then she fainted again. Jalen sighed, walking to the comlink. "She's awake," he told the team, "and she thinks we embarrassed her." "What now?" asked Lynn over the channel. "We wait. Let her recover, and when she's ready, we talk." Outside the outpost, stars shone quietly again. But something new had begun. An alien survivor, a human rescue, and a misunderstanding that might decide the future of peace or war between two civilizations. Ambassador Celia Trin opened her eyes slowly. The ceiling above her was smooth and gray, not the shining silver of her ship. The air smelled of something clean, but strange. She turned her head and saw a window. Through it, stars floated above a barren moon. Then she remembered. The crash, the fire, the pain, and then the humans. She looked down. A thin medical cloth covered her body, but the rest of her protective biosuit was gone. Her heart started to beat faster. She sat up suddenly. Just then, the door opened with a soft hiss. Commander Jalen Ward stepped in with a calm face and a datapad in his hand. He paused when he saw her awake and alert. "You're conscious." "Good," he said. "I hoped you'd be better today." Celia's eyes narrowed. "You hoped? After taking away my shield?" Jalen blinked. "You mean your biosuit? It was malfunctioning." "Our medical eye said it was releasing toxins." Celia touched her skin, bare and sensitive without the second layer. In her culture, being seen without her suit was deeply personal, almost sacred. It was not just armor. It was a part of their identity, almost like a second skin. "You had no right," she said softly, voice shaking. Jalen walked closer, but carefully. "I understand this may feel wrong to you, but you would have died if we left it on. We had no choice." She looked away, silent. In her mind, shame twisted with confusion. These humans didn't seem cruel or curious in the wrong way. Their tone was respectful. Their eyes were serious. No laughter, no mocking, only concern. "Where am I?" she finally asked. "Outpost E7, on the moon called Dura's Reach, outer edge of human territory." "You knew I was from the Varellan Accord, yes?" "Yes," Jalen nodded. "But we didn't know who you were until after we scanned your badge. We were trying to save whoever was inside." Celia's mind raced. She was an ambassador. Her ship had carried important information. She was on a secret mission. Had the humans accessed her data? "My ship?" she asked. "Destroyed. We recovered what we could. Most of it was unreadable. We didn't touch anything private." Celia's violet eyes studied him again. Was he lying? Human expressions were strange, but his voice seemed steady, too steady to be faking. Dr. Elia entered, holding a small scanner. She was older, with silver-streaked hair and a kind face. "Ambassador, I'm your physician. We didn't mean to disrespect your customs, but your life was in danger." Celia hesitated. "In Virellan law, to be seen without my outer shell is dishonorable. But," she looked down, "you saved me." Dr. Elia smiled softly. "Sometimes life matters more than rules. That's what we believe." Celia didn't answer. Instead, she lay back on the medical bed, staring at the ceiling. Meanwhile, outside the room, the human team discussed the situation. "She's recovering," said Jalen. "But she's confused, embarrassed, maybe even angry." "Not surprised," said Lynn. "Imagine waking up naked in a strange place with strangers around you." Jalen nodded. "This is more than embarrassment. It's cultural." Alia spoke up. "Then we must show respect. No scans without permission. No sudden contact. Let her guide the pace." "Agreed," Jalen said. 2 days passed. Celia recovered fast. Her wounds healed with the help of human tech, and her body grew stronger. But emotionally, she was distant. Jalen often visited her, bringing small things. a tea sample, data on the galaxy's border, or just silent company. He never asked personal questions. He gave her time. One evening, as the stars shimmered outside the glass, she finally spoke without anger. "You risked your lives to save me," she said. Jalen, sitting nearby, looked up. "Yes. Even though I was a stranger, even though I was vulnerable." "Of course," Jalen replied. "That's what humans do." "Why?" she asked. "What do you gain?" Jalen smiled a little. "Not everything needs a reward. Sometimes doing what's right is enough." Celia was silent again, but something changed in her eyes. Later that night, Celia requested to see her suit. Jalen brought it to her, folded, damaged, but still recognizable. She touched it gently. "I wore this since I was a child. It's my shield, my identity." "I understand," Jalen said, "but it also nearly killed you." She looked up. "Perhaps it's time I understand you too." As part of her recovery, she began walking around the outpost, wearing a new robe the humans provided, modest and respectful. She observed how humans interacted. Their kindness was casual, not forced. Their teamwork was natural. They didn't look at her with judgment. She saw a soldier help a child in the cargo bay. She saw two medics share food with a wounded miner. And she saw Jalen working late into the night to keep the station safe, even for one alien guest. One evening, while eating with Jalen and Alia, she finally said, "I thought exposure was weakness. But here, I learned something different. Your people, your instinct to help, comes not from shame, but strength." Alia smiled. "Thank you." Celia turned to Jalen. "Commander, I owe you my life. And perhaps an apology for thinking you had done something cruel." Jalen shook his head. "No apology needed. I'm just glad you're alive." She nodded slowly. For the first time, she smiled. Outside, the stars continued to shine quietly. But inside the outpost, something brighter was growing. Trust. Ambassador Celia Trin stood by the observation window of Outpost E7. Her eyes followed the stars, blinking gently in the black sky. Somewhere beyond those stars was her homeworld, Viral Prime, a place of order, tradition, and silence. But here, at the edge of human space, everything felt loud, unpredictable, and oddly alive. Behind her, the door opened. "You're up early," said Commander Jalen Ward. Celia nodded without turning. "I couldn't sleep. Your station hums at night. Machines, air systems, even soft music from somewhere." Jalen smiled. "Yeah, humans aren't used to silence." She turned to him. "That is something we see as weakness. The need for noise. The need for company." Jalen leaned against the frame. "And yet, you're standing here, not alone." She gave a small, thoughtful smile. Later that day, a group of human workers was having lunch in the common area. Celia sat quietly nearby, observing. As soon as she entered, some lowered their voices, unsure how to behave. She could feel the tension. It wasn't hatred, but confusion, maybe even embarrassment. A young technician, Miles, leaned over and whispered to his friend, not realizing Celia's hearing was sharper than theirs. "She's the one, right? The ambassador they found. You know, with her armor off." His friend chuckled. "Yeah, poor girl. Must have been awkward." Celia's jaw tightened. She stood and walked over to their table. The room went silent. "You think it was funny?" she asked. Miles stammered. "No, I mean, just strange. We didn't mean anything." Celia looked around. "In my world, being without our outer skin is like being stripped of identity. It's not just clothing. It's who we are. Would you laugh if someone saw you without your name, your language, your family?" The room remained silent. Then Jalen entered, having heard the end of it. "Ambassador," he said calmly, "we'll speak with them." But Celia shook her head. "No need. Let them listen. Let them learn." She turned and walked out. Later, Jalen found her in the corridor near the hydroponics lab. "I'm sorry about the comments," he said. "They didn't mean harm," she replied. "That's what hurts more. It was casual. Like a joke." Jalen stayed quiet. "In my culture," she continued, "what happened would be considered a personal failure, a shame that might end my role as ambassador. But here, you treat it like a small thing." Jalen nodded slowly. "It's not small, but it's also not something to punish. We believe in giving space for healing, growth, even mistakes." Celia looked at him carefully. "That is very human." The next morning, something surprising happened. A package was left outside Celia's room. Inside, folded neatly, was a new suit, not the armor she once wore, but a diplomatic robe made by the outpost's engineers. It was designed for comfort, modesty, and respect. The fabric shimmered softly, and the collar carried both the Virellan and human symbols side by side. There was also a small note. "We may not fully understand your ways, but we respect them. Outpost E7 team." Celia touched the fabric with care. Her eyes softened. These humans, though strange and loud, had tried. She wore the robe to the command room later that day. Everyone turned when she entered. Jalen smiled. "It suits you." "I feel seen," she replied. He nodded. "That's what we hope for." As days passed, Celia started participating in briefings and updates. She offered knowledge about nearby systems, advised on Virellan star maps, and even helped translate distress signals from unknown sources. Trust was forming. Slowly, but clearly. But not all was peaceful. One evening, while reviewing recovered data from her destroyed ship, Celia's face darkened. Jalen noticed her change. "What is it?" he asked. She hesitated, then spoke. "This data, it confirms my fear. My ship wasn't damaged by an accident. It was targeted." Jalen leaned forward. "Targeted by who?" "I'm not sure, but the energy signature is Virellan, which means someone from my own side tried to remove me." Silence filled the room. "Why would they do that?" Jalen asked. Celia looked at him seriously. "Because I was carrying a proposal, one that could have united several neutral planets through peaceful trade. But there are factions in my government who prefer control, through fear." Jalen rubbed his chin. "So they tried to stop peace. And now," Celia said, "they may tell my people that I'm dead, or worse, that humans took me." The thought sent a chill through them both. The next day, Celia called a meeting. Jalen, Alia, Lynn, and other key staff gathered. "My presence here is now dangerous. For both of us," she said. "If my enemies believe you have me, they may use it as a reason to attack." "Then we'll tell them the truth," said Lynn. "They won't listen. Truth is fragile when power is involved." Jalen stood. "What do you want us to do?" Celia looked around the room. Her voice was calm, but firm. "I want to send a message, one they cannot block. I want to show the galaxy that you didn't harm me. You saved me. That humans are not enemies, and I need your help to do it." Jalen met her gaze. "You have it." That night, as she stood again by the window, watching the stars, Celia thought of how far she had come, from fear and shame to trust and purpose. Once, she had believed humans had exposed her. Now she realized they had protected her. Not just her body, but her truth. Ambassador Celia Trin walked quietly through the corridors of Outpost E7. Her new robe flowed behind her like starlight. The humans had made it for her, a gift of understanding and peace. Though she still missed the strong safety of her Virellan biosuit, the robe made her feel something different. Not armored, not hidden, but seen. Each day, she watched the humans more closely, not just their machines or technology, but how they lived. They were strange, loud, sometimes clumsy, but never cold. There was life in every corner of the outpost. She saw a young engineer repairing a broken drone while whistling a cheerful tune. She saw two miners argue over food portions, then laughed together a minute later, sharing dessert. She saw a medic teaching a small child how to plant seeds in the hydroponic garden. And she saw Commander Jalen Ward, still working late into the night, checking reports, protecting the outpost without rest. Always calm, always patient. One afternoon, Jalen invited her to the observation deck. "Thought you'd enjoy some real starlight," he said. Celia joined him by the glass wall. In front of them stretched the galaxy, wide and endless. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Jalen nodded. "Makes you feel small, doesn't it?" Celia tilted her head. "Virellans are taught not to feel small. We're trained to always stand tall, no matter the stars above." "But sometimes," Jalen said, "feeling small is what makes us care about others. It reminds us we're not the only ones who matter." She looked at him with new respect. "You speak like a philosopher." He chuckled. "I just lead a station on the edge of nowhere. But we've seen things here, things that make you think deeply." Later that day, Celia joined Dr. Alia in the medical bay. She wanted to learn more about human healing methods. "You use both machines and hands," she observed. Alia smiled. "Machines can measure and repair, but hands bring comfort. Words calm the mind. Sometimes, healing is more than fixing the body." Celia nodded slowly. "In Virellan culture, healing is cold, efficient, no emotion. And how does that feel?" "Empty," Celia admitted. "I never noticed it before. Until now." Alia handed her a scanner. "Try helping with this scan. Sometimes, helping others helps us too." That evening, the outpost received a distress signal from a mining team caught in a cave collapse. Celia insisted on going with the rescue crew. "I have strength and training. I can help." Jalen agreed. "All right, just stay close." The team flew out in a small shuttle. The crash site was dark and unstable. Rocks were still falling. One miner was trapped under debris. Celia used her knowledge of pressure points and energy manipulation to lift the rocks safely, while Jalen pulled the injured man free. Together, they brought everyone back alive. Back at the outpost, the crew cheered. "You saved my brother," said one worker. "Thank you, Ambassador." Celia smiled, tired but proud. "You have done the same for me." Word of the rescue spread through the outpost. People began greeting her in the halls, not with fear or confusion, but with kindness. A child gave her a flower grown in the garden. A technician offered her a carved crystal from the mines. A soldier invited her to join a meal in the commons. Each act was small, but together, they formed a bridge. One night, she spoke with Jalen over tea. "I thought I came here as a diplomat," she said, "but I've been learning more than teaching." Jalen smiled. "That's what real diplomacy is. Not just talking, but understanding." She looked at him seriously. "Back home, I would be called weak for allowing others to see me this way, for showing emotion, for needing help." Jalen's tone was gentle. "Then your people misunderstand strength." She nodded. "Perhaps they do." Days later, Celia prepared her message. She wanted to send a live recording to the Virellan Council. "It must be clear," she told the humans. "They must see the truth. No edits, no tricks." She stood in the outpost's main hall, cameras set. Her voice rang out calm and clear. "I am Ambassador Celia Trin. I speak today from Human Outpost E7 on the edge of the galaxy. I was rescued here when my own people failed me. I arrived broken, afraid, and dishonored. But these humans, they healed me. Not just my body, but my spirit. They did not mock me. They did not use my weakness. They gave me dignity. And now, I see the truth. Strength is not hiding your pain. It is allowing others to help you rise again. These humans, they did not expose me. They saw me." When the message ended, the humans stood silent. Some clapped quietly. Others just smiled. Celia turned to Jalen. "Now we wait." Jalen nodded and hoped they listen. That night, alone in her room, Celia looked at herself in the mirror. No armor, no suit, just herself. And for the first time in her life, she didn't feel exposed. She felt free. The message Ambassador Celia Trin had sent to the Varellan Council traveled through space at the speed of light. For hours, the team at Outpost E7 waited for any response. Silence stretched like the cold vacuum beyond the stars. Then a signal came. But it was not the one they hoped for. The Council's reply was short and cold. They claimed Celia had been lost with her ship and declared her dead. Worse, they accused the humans of capturing and hiding her, a betrayal of intergalactic law. The accusation shocked the team. Jalen's voice was firm as he addressed the room. This is misinformation. We have no reason to hide her. We saved her. Celia's eyes narrowed. My own people believe lies. Dr. Elia placed a comforting hand on Celia's shoulder. Then we must prove the truth. Days later, strange activity was detected near the border. Unknown ships moved quickly, hiding behind asteroid fields. Their technology was familiar. Varellan, but altered. Saboteurs, Lynn said grimly. Someone is planning an attack. Jalen ordered the outpost's sensors to scan carefully. Every signal, every movement was monitored. We can't let this escalate into war, Jalen said. Not here. Not now. Celia paced the command center, her mind racing. The factions who attacked my ship, they want conflict, she said. If they succeed, thousands will suffer. Then we stop them, Jalen replied. Together. Late one night, Celia received a secret message from an unknown source. A coded transmission flashed on her personal console. It was a warning. Danger grows. Your life is at risk. Trust only those who have helped you. The truth is hidden in shadows. She looked up at Jalen, showing him the message. We need to be careful, he said, but we can't hide forever. They gathered trusted crew members to plan their next move. Using a mix of human technology and Celia's knowledge of Varellan systems, they traced the signal to a nearby asteroid base, hidden from official maps. Jalen prepared a small team to investigate. Ambassador, will you join us? He asked. Celia nodded. This is my fight as much as yours. The shuttle flew through the dark space, silent except for the steady hum of engines. When they reached the asteroid, they saw ships docked inside vast caverns carved into the rock. Stepping inside, the air was cold and stale. Shadows moved among crates and equipment. Suddenly, alarms blared. The saboteurs had been alerted. A firefight erupted. Jalen and his team moved with practiced skill. Celia used her training to disable systems without harm to personnel. In the chaos, she found a data core containing plans to attack the border outposts. We must get this back, she said urgently. They escaped just in time, returning to Outpost E7. The data core revealed a conspiracy. Powerful factions within the Varellan Council sought to provoke war, keeping control through fear and division. Celia's voice was steady as she addressed the team. This is more than a border dispute. It is a battle for the soul of my people. Jalen nodded. And we stand with you. News of the conspiracy spread quickly. Allies and neutrals across the galaxy watched closely. The Varellan Council faced growing pressure to explain. Celia knew that her position was dangerous. But she also knew one thing clearly. The humans had shown her a new way, one of trust, courage, and hope. The tension in the command center was thick as the team gathered around the holographic map. Red markers blinked ominously near the border systems. The conspiracy uncovered by Ambassador Celia Trin was not just a secret anymore. It was a looming threat. Commander Jalen Ward paced slowly. The Varellan Council is silent. No official response yet. Meanwhile, the saboteurs are moving fast. Celia's eyes were calm but determined. If they attack, many will die. Innocents caught in their fight for power. We need a plan. Defensive and diplomatic, Jalen said. We can't afford a war. Celia stepped forward. I will speak to the council directly. Live transmission. No lies. No hiding. Jalen looked at her. That is risky, but it may be the only way. With the help of human engineers, they prepared a secure channel. The message would reach every corner of Virelan space. Before the broadcast, Celia took a moment to reflect. She wore the diplomatic robe the humans had made for her. No armor, no mask, just herself, vulnerable but strong. Jalen approached. Ready? She nodded. Ready. The transmission began. Celia's voice was steady as she spoke directly to the council and the galaxy. To all who listen, I am Ambassador Celia Trin. I come not as a victim, but as a witness. My ship was attacked by those who seek to start a war. They hide behind lies, hoping to control through fear. But I stand here, alive because of humans, those who saw me not as a weapon, but as a person. I ask you to choose peace over power, to see beyond armor and fear. Together, we can stop this conflict before it begins. The room fell silent. Minutes passed. Then, responses flooded in. Some council members condemned the saboteurs. Others demanded investigation. A few remained silent, afraid, or complicit. Back at Outpost E7, the team prepared for what might come next. Suddenly, alarms rang. Sensors detected incoming ships. Virelan warships, but not hostile. They came with emissaries and diplomats, responding to Celia's call. Jalen smiled. Looks like your message worked. Celia returned the smile. Not mine alone. Yours too. The arriving ships docked peacefully. Meetings began immediately. Humans and Virelans talked openly, sharing information and plans to stop the saboteurs. Trust was fragile, but growing. Days later, a joint task force was formed. Humans and Virelans worked side by side to secure the border, dismantle hidden bases, and arrest conspirators. Celia stood among the team, proud and hopeful. One evening, as stars sparkled above the outpost, Jalen and Celia stood outside, watching the galaxy. You've changed a lot since you arrived, Jalen said. Celia laughed softly. So have you. Do you regret coming here? No. I have learned that strength is not in hiding behind armor. It is in standing together, even when exposed. Jalen nodded. And that is the greatest lesson of all. The grand hall aboard the Virelan flagship was filled with tension. Delegates from many worlds sat in silence, eyes fixed on the large holographic screen where Ambassador Celia Trin stood. Her face was calm, framed by the simple diplomatic robe gifted by the humans. No armor, no mask, just her true self. She took a deep breath and began. Honor delegates, leaders of the Virelan Council, and representatives of the galaxy. Today, I speak not just as your ambassador, but as a witness to what true strength means. Murmurs rippled through the hall. For too long, we have hidden behind our armor, literal and metaphorical, letting fear shape our choices. But my recent experience has shown me another way. She paused, her violet eyes sweeping the room. When my ship was attacked, I was left broken and vulnerable. I believed that being seen without my protective shell was a shame, a weakness. Her voice grew stronger. But humans, those who saved my life, did not see weakness. They saw a being worthy of respect and care. She stepped forward. They did not remove my armor to expose me for cruelty or mockery. They removed it to save me, to see me as I am. The delegates listened, some with surprise, others with reflection. Peace is not found behind walls or weapons. It is found when we allow ourselves to be seen, to be understood. The hall was quiet. Then, from the back, a senior delegate stood. Ambassador Celia Trin, he said thoughtfully, your words challenge us. They remind us that our traditions must evolve. That strength is not hiding, but openness. Others nodded. Jalen watched from the side, pride swelling in his chest. After the speech, a historic vote was held. The council agreed to investigate the factions that had tried to start the war and pledged to pursue peace talks with human allies. Celia returned to Outpost E7, welcomed as a hero. In the quiet of her room, she looked at the simple robe hanging by the window. She smiled. She remembered her first moments on the outpost, the fear, the confusion, the feeling of being exposed. But now, she understood. The humans had not exposed her. They had helped her be seen. The stars outside shone brightly. And so did hope. The end.